Folks, you better get ready. In today's video, we are going to identify and break down the 5 stocks that insiders within the Congress are buying hand over fist right now. Why do we care? Well, Congress routinely beats the market and quite frankly even puts most hedge fund managers to shame. If you want to be successful in the stock market, don't go into finance, go into politics. Politicians, for some reason, seem to be very gifted at buying the right thing at the right time. They seem to know what stocks will benefit from new laws, regulations, even congressional hearings. And in fact, many long-term career politicians who earn a few $100,000 annually have many millions of dollars in the stock market in which they move regularly and usually beat the market with. And right now, as you might expect, Congress is making aggressive stock moves heading into the change of administration, and so we need to break each of them down, who is buying them and why. And we're going to get right into it. I'm going to put all the timestamps down below, but as always, if you're the one taking the risk, you got to make sure that you're the one doing the ultimate frisk. Every time you buy, sell, or trade any kind of stock, well, you got to make sure that you're doing your own due diligence first. Okay, so to start, in the weeks and months heading up to the election that we just had, we sent out a ton of calls on relevant stocks that were in play. Your Palantir, Tesla, Mara, Riot, Coin, SoFi, Carvana, Upstart. Those did phenomenally well, alert price to highs. Many going up 100% plus, some even 300% plus. But now we're heading into the next opportunity, which is the inauguration on January 20th and the complete shift and a complete overhaul of the regulatory state. And in preparation for that, we've been sending out alert after alert and will continue to do so in order to hopefully set our members up for the next wave. And if you'd like immediate access to these alerts, go ahead and join ZipTrader Options down below. Coupon code BLACK75, our biggest percentage sale off ever on the program, will get you 75% off. All right, folks, I hope you're buckled up because it's time to get to work. Okay, let's start with number 5, TCMD, Tactile Systems Tech. So TCMD is a medical technology company specializing in developing and providing therapeutic devices for patients with chronic diseases, particularly those affecting the lymphatic and venous systems. And it was just reported that the stock had a massive buy order from Senator Tina Smith and her husband. And you'll never guess where she bought it. She bought it right about here on the 11th. And then a few days later, oof, massive rally. So why might she have bought this? Well, for starters, Senator Smith sits on the Senate Health Committee, and TCMD specializes in developing medical devices directly relevant to that committee. If she heard or saw some regulatory change coming that could benefit TCMD, well, that might have motivated her position. Perhaps she's attending congressional hearings where she's making arguments for TCMD, or she's hearing other people make arguments for the products that TCMD makes. TCMD also just happens to be headquartered in Minnesota, which is the state where the senator lives and represents. And by the way, Senator Smith actually has quite the record, this just being one of her many solid traits. Now, in terms of the company itself, the company had strong financial performance. In the third quarter of 2024, Tactile Medical reported a 7% year-over-year revenue increase, reaching $69.6 million. This growth was primarily driven by a 15% rise in lymphedema-related revenue. The company also achieved an operating income of $8 million, a significant improvement from the $1.6 million operating loss in the same quarter of 2023. The launch of the next generation Nimble lymphedema platform is also likely to drive more revenue in Q4 and Q1. This new system aims to enhance patient care by offering advanced treatment options for upper extremity lymphedema. Now, recent clinical trials have shown high compliance rates with the FlexiTouch system that they offer and significant improvements across various study endpoints. Could the senator have heard some of these results ahead of time? Perhaps, maybe not, who knows? But at the end of the day, this play does seem to have a lot going for it, and as a leader in the medical technology sector, Tactile Medical addresses a growing demand for non-invasive treatments for chronic conditions. Their focus on the lymphatic and venous systems positions them favorably within a niche market with substantial growth potential. So how far can TCMD rally? Well, since we aren't politicians, we can't know for certain, but keep in mind, with a biotech company, you tend to have huge capital expenditure to develop the drugs, therapies, medical devices, and so on and so forth. And then once it starts paying off years later, well, all of a sudden you got some profitability and you can start recovering and returning a lot of shareholder value. The senator may have seen that happening over the horizon, and that may be why she's purchasing this stock so aggressively. Okay, number 4, Viasat, ticker symbol VSAT. a company known for producing military communications equipment. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who sits on the military subcommittee and more importantly the House Committee on Appropriations, which oversees, of course, defense spending, just reported buying the stock. Viasat has secured significant contracts with the U.S. military, including a $900 million indefinite delivery / indefinite quantity contract with the U.S. Air Force for technology integration and architecture. Additionally, the company was just awarded a $33.6 million contract by the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory to develop advanced satellite communications antennas for military aircraft. And based on this overall trend of military contracts, the business seems set to receive a ton more heading into 2025. And it's not only this congresswoman who owns it, other sitting politicians do as well. But she was the latest to buy it. So why might Schultz be buying the stock right now? Well, for starters, secure communication systems are vital for modern military operations, and growing geopolitical tensions may increase defense spending. The demand for satellite broadband is growing, particularly in underserved areas and industries like aviation and maritime, and perhaps she was briefed on this. Viasat's broadband services cater to both commercial and government customers, positioning it as a key player in the expanding market, and with Schultz in government, well, she has some control over a major segment of Viasat's business. As the U.S. government invests in modernizing defense systems, companies like Viasat that provide secure communication solutions are poised to benefit. And so if Schultz bought because she's about to attend hearings on new government contracts or simply sees tailwinds forming, well, this stock could be set to rally much, much, much higher. Now, that said, just because Congresswoman Schultz sits on relevant committees and votes for funding for military contracts and gets secret briefings on impending military conflicts doesn't mean she bought the stock for that reason. Perhaps she forgot all of those things when she went to buy the stock. Perhaps she just looked at the stock, she liked the chart setup, and she liked the PE ratio or something like that. But it's also worth mentioning that this company is a big fan of corporate lobbying. And with influential congressional leaders buying the stock, millions in corporate lobbying being spent, and a ton of defense contracts already in place, well, I would say it's hard to argue the stock isn't headed higher. Number 3, Tuhura Biosciences, ticker symbol HURA. Congresswoman Laurel M. Lee from Florida recently made a big move, reporting a 6-figure investment in the stock. So why exactly might she see potential in this Charlito? What does Tuhura Biosciences actually do? Well, they are a cutting-edge immuno-oncology company diving deep into one of the hottest spaces in medicine, cancer therapy. Their focus tackling resistance to immunotherapy, a major problem in cancer treatment today. Their flagship product, the IFX 2.0, is targeting advanced or metastatic Merkel cell carcinoma, a super aggressive skin cancer. It's currently entering a phase 3 trial alongside Keytruda, a blockbuster cancer drug. Translation, if this works, they're looking at an FDA approval and a potential massive market breakthrough, which could cause the stock to do a big rally-too. Now, what might Laurel M. Lee know about this? Well, she might have been told something about the approval process. She might have some insight into the trials and how they're going. She might have just been told about the massive demand for this by some of her connections. Who knows? Congress isn't required to disclose why they make positions. They just have to disclose they make the positions. But once you get to phase 3 trials, I mean, that means the science is looking pretty strong, because it's hard to get past phase 1 and 2. And phase 3 is the last step before you get to FDA approval. And if this stock gets FDA approval, that could unlock a tidal wave of revenue, which means a tidal wave of stock going uppity up. Now, what makes this trade unique is she actually executed it in a very unusual way. On May 6, 2024, the Congresswoman purchased corporate securities in the form of convertible promissory note loans from Tuhura Biosciences, valued between $100,000 and $250,000. This transaction was officially reported on May 27th. Then later on October 18th, 2024, Representative Lee's note was converted into common stock as a result of Tuhura Biosciences' merger with Quintera Therapeutics. Then this conversion was reported on November 22nd. So why might she have acquired shares of this in this way? Well, folks, convertible promissory notes are often issued by companies in their growth or development phase to raise capital, and by purchasing such a note, Lee might have identified or been told of an opportunity to invest early in a company that is very, very likely to get FDA approval. As a member of Congress, again, Lee may have access to insights about regulatory and policy trends in the healthcare sector. She doesn't really sit on any super relevant committees, but it's very, very easy for people to talk, and that may have guided her decision to invest in a company so early on and so aggressively. Number 2, Patterson-UTI Energy Inc., ticker symbol PTEN. This is another Wasserman Schultz buy. Patterson-UTI Energy Inc. is a prominent provider of drilling and completion services for oil and natural gas exploration and production companies, primarily operated in the US of A. Their services encompass contract drilling, integrated well completion, and directional drilling. Notably, in September 2023, Patterson-UTI completed a merger with Next Tier Oilfield Solutions, enhancing its service offerings and market presence. Now, why might Schultz have bought this? Well, as a member of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Energy and Water Development, Wasserman Schultz oversees federal spending on energy-related programs. This role gives her exposure to trends, policies, and investments in the energy sector, including oil and natural gas exploration and production, key areas where Patterson-UTI operates. Knowledge of federal priorities such as energy transitions and the renewed reliance on domestic energy sources may have highlighted P10 as a strategic investment benefiting from both ongoing demand for drilling services and potential federal projects supporting energy infrastructure. Her role as a ranking member on various appropriations subcommittees also gives her access to data and projections about government contracts, subsidies, and energy project developments that might boost demand for companies like Patterson-UTI. And she might have some influence in terms of who gets the biggest contracts and so on and so forth as well. Okay, number 1, Applied Materials AMAT, A-M-A-T. Congressfolk Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ro Khanna, John James, Tommy Tuberville, John Bozeman, and more have been snapping up shares in Applied Materials AMAT like there's no tomorrow. Why might they be buying though? Well, Applied Materials is a semiconductor manufacturing powerhouse. They don't make the chips you use in your electronics, they make the equipment that builds those chips. This includes machinery for wafer fabrication, deposition, etching, and inspection, all critical for creating advanced semiconductors. But why exactly does this matter? Well, because chips are the brains behind AI, smartphones, electric vehicles, data centers, and literally every piece of tech that's shaping the future. Without Applied Materials, none of this innovation happens. So, what is actually driving congressional interest? These Congress people presumably are getting briefed daily on this massive tech revolution that we're seeing right now, and they're using that insight to then go and buy those players that are fueling and making possible this revolution. Right now, we're seeing explosive demand for AI chips. We're in the middle of an absolute transformation of the economy, and companies like NVIDIA are creating chips for AI models, and guess who supplies the tools to make those chips? Applied Materials. Every tech company investing in AI, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, relies on the kind of advanced chips that AMAT's equipment helps produce. The U.S. government has also prioritized reshoring semiconductor manufacturing to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers like Taiwan and China. Applied Materials benefits directly from this push because it's the go-to company for building the factories that make these chips. The CHIPS Act, which allocates billions to incentivize domestic chip production, is a game changer for AMAT. Politicians know this, and they see Applied Materials as a long-term winner in the semiconductor space. Anyways, folks, that caps off today's video. Let us know your favorite stocks down below and whether you think Congress should be allowed to trade. And make sure to take advantage of our Black75 coupon code on ZipTrader Options to get our alerts, private chat, and hours of step-by-step video lessons. Have a good rest of your day, folks, and we'll see you in the next video.